Welcome. Welcome to the weekly Educators in VR XR News Show, formerly known as News and Updates, bringing you news from across the metaverse since 2018.
Now, a reminder of our new weekly format with our two news segments in between our regular XR News Show. We have the first Wednesdays are the XR News Mental Health Edition, and the third Wednesdays are the XR News, that's with Rachel D. And the third Wednesday is the XR News Innovation Spotlight with hosts Maxwell McGee, Chris Madsen, and Dr. Tom Furness.
The first Wednesday in July, Rachel D. will be interviewing Dr. Jane Harrington of Med Micro Maps, an innovative XR app that teaches students and professionals about microbiology in a game-changing way. Jane is a ball of fire, and you don't want to miss this conversation on the XR News Med Health Show.
Yeah. Rachel's interview last week with Jeremy Nickel, founder of EDVR and a leader and innovator with Trip, is up on our Educators in VR YouTube channel and posted across social media if you missed it.
Thank you to Rich, our filmer. Yay. Next week is our XR News Innovation Spotlight with Maxwell McGee, Tom Furness, and Chris Madsen. Their previous session is also up on our Educators in VR YouTube channel. So check it out. If you missed it, you need to see that show. Brains were left on the floor.
So to speak.
Yes.
So our last XR News Show featured an amazing interview with Niko and Shushu of Virium. It's also up on our YouTube channel. What a delight to have the two premier award-winning world builders, developers, and designers with us to share their insights and expertise.
Now, our next regular XR News on June 25th is going to feature Girls STEAM Institute. These are longtime partners with Educators in VR and a nonprofit that is changing the lives of young women using XR. We will have Diane McClellan, the CEO, and the new director, Dr. Angelina Reinhardt. You know her as the VR lady and former director of the Virtual World Society. And we are so eager to talk to these two powerhouse women just about their work and how VR is changing the education and career of future leaders. Exciting stuff.
Oh, isn't it though? This week, our special guests are you, our audience. Every couple months, we open the floor to our VR family to share their insights, stories, and good news on their VR experiences. Get ready. The mic will be on shortly, and we want to hear from you.
Now, the XR News is produced by Educators in VR and run by volunteers. And we are so grateful to our partners and our supporters who keep us going, including the Reinhardt Foundation, Girls STEAM Institute, iLearn, Virtual World Society, Vertex Forum 3D, Cadets Metaverse, and Engage XR. So if you or your country would like, let's have a whole country sponsor us. Why not? If you or your, let's charge tariffs. How's that? Okay. If you or your company would like to sponsor the XR News, please contact us. We will sound professional when you talk to us. Right now, it's just the normal show.
Yes. You can keep up with XR News from Educators in VR via many of our social media channels, and you can rewatch the show on our YouTube channel. If you want to know more, we have links to all the news stories we cover in our Educators in VR Discord. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Blue Sky, and on our Educators in VR YouTube channel. We have a ton of news to cover today. So, ladies, let's get on with the show.
Okay. XR industry news. The CTO of Meta, Andrew Bosworth, made a bold statement last week in a TechCrunch interview. He stated 2025 is going to be the pivotal year for VR and AR. Meta's Ray-Ban smart glasses have outsold traditional Ray-Bans with over 2 million pairs sold since October 2023. Google announced a Google announced a smart glasses partnership with Gentle Monster, last month, and Apple is trying to get their first pair released. Boz says the competition is heating up, and that is a good sign. We are watching.
We are.
The Rain Dance VR Experience Film Festival is now on through the end of the month. If you have not gone, go. Among the dozens of entries, The Reality of Hope is a short film documentary by Hayu and photograph auditor. Oh my goodness.
Blah.
Photograph auditor. Oh my God. It's directed by Joe Hunting and the producers Max Wilson. Hunting was part of the We Met in VR documentary that was released in 2022. Now they're using mixed reality for this, and it's about these two friends, Hayu and photograph auditor, who have crossed the boundaries of reality to show their true selves, following their journeys in VR chat and in the real world, because Hayu needed a kidney donor. And photograph auditor in Sweden chose to donate his kidney. It's an absolutely beautiful story. So check this out and all the other stuff for Raindance. They're groundbreaking stuff they're doing.
That's amazing. So how many fans of TSA are here? Your next airplane journey could truly be an adventure. The U.S. Transportation Security Administration is working with Homeland Security to research and develop VR technology that allows TSA airline agents to use VR goggles and haptic feedback gloves to pat down and feel airline passengers at security checkpoints. The touchless sensor allows users to feel an object without actually touching it as they inspect online customers for weapons and other dangerous objects using millimeter wave scanning, LiDAR, and X-ray technology. If this works, it could revolutionize police and security checkpoints around the world and eventually our own consumer haptic experience. Wow. Interesting.
How far we've come. I mean, the technology.
I mean, the tech is wonderful, but covertly being felt up is not my idea of privacy.
Yeah, I don't want to be touched, but having them not touch, I don't know. We'll talk about that later. It's crazy.
I think so, yeah. Speaking of airlines, the EU has just approved their first mixed reality flight simulator for pilot training. The Vajro SR4 VR headset replaces the screen of the flight training simulator with a more affordable system that affords pilots to train, or allows them to train, in physical cockpits. VR flight simulators have been used around the world for training and certification, but this is the first mixed reality flight simulator approved for professional use.
Now, we live for the integration of XR into our day-to-day lives, right? I mean, we love that. Now, this past week, one of my best friends, Julian, and his wife, they visited the new local baseball stadium still being built to find themselves donning a Quest 3 VR headset to select their annual seats. Okay. And it made the choice really easy because they can actually, it offers them the view of the seat as if they're sitting in the seat. That makes things so much sense, and it makes the choice easier because you get to see through the VR what it is that you will supposedly see from that seat. Now, you have to realize that after one 2D experience years ago in VR, Julian said he would never put a VR headset on, and this was just he wasn't going to play with any of this nonsense and stuff. Well, now he says, I want more. I love it. I love it. We'll see how far that lasts, but I'm excited.
That's
baseball
cool.
seat, 2 baseball seats set. Now he wants VR.
Well, in sad news, pioneering Apple developer Bill Atkinson, creator of QuickDraw, MacPaint, and HyperCard, has died at 74 from pancreatic cancer. Steve Jobs lured him to Apple with the words, "If you want to change the world, come to Apple and help to invent the future." He did. HyperCard was one of the first hypermedia database systems replacing the World Wide Web in the form of virtual cards. My brother, Rich Soundpower, the filmer there, well, he's nude now, but anyway, our volunteer filmer, wrote a program for my educational business using HyperCard. The code he wrote took up around 150 pages, if I remember correctly.
Wow. That's amazing.
I was a beta tester for Apple's HyperCard. I remember well a discussion about how we could possibly use a seemingly minor feature called hypertext in HyperCard. It allowed us to click on a highlighted word or phrase and have another HyperCard become open. Sound familiar? If you clicked on an
Mhm.
interface button or link today on software, you can thank Bill Atkinson.
Yeah,
Yes.
amazing. In
Uh,
2009, he didn't stop there. In 2009,
Mm.
Atkinson developed the free iOS app PhotoCard to preserve postcards with advanced scanning and digital storage techniques. He said the printed postcard is a lovely tradition and a unique keepsake that preserves a memory, an experience, and a shared moment. And this started long before social media was what it is today.
Mhm.
mhm. Bill Atkinson's photo card app also prints and mails about 100 laminated postcards a day. To facilitate this, the U.S. Postal Service made him an official postmaster. In his later years, he turned his lifelong passion for art and photography to geology, publishing the book Within the Stone in 2004. His rock photos are considered some of the world's finest geological art photographs.
Mm.
Mm.
So thank you, Bill Atkinson, for changing computing, art, and our lives forever. You will be remembered.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Laurel?
Laurel?
Is that? Oh, is it me? I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'm sitting around just like.
Okay.
Zoom. All right, a survey. I know I was thinking about Bill Atkinson, and we're going to talk about him more in a little bit. A survey published yesterday from XRA found that 1 in 5 teens in the United States own a VR headset.
Wow.
63% of teens expressed a growing enthusiasm for XR technology, with many of them saving up for the AR integrated smart glasses.
Mm.
Now, the sample is only 600 teenagers, but it revealed the roles that XR is beginning to play in their everyday lives, and it is more than people realize.
That's
Indeed.
interesting because my brother, our other brother, he says people. Well, Michael's 25 now, but he says our nephew. He says people Michael's age don't use VR, but I don't know. That doesn't sound like it. Okay, with that in mind, Meta reports that they're planning to open more physical stores to sell their VR hardware and Ray-Ban smart glasses. The first store opened in 2022, and now they're expanding. They found that people are more willing to invest in the headset once they've played with one. Duh, makes sense.
Yeah.
it does.
Meta,
My friend.
Meta announced this week that they are prioritizing their new ultralight headset for release in 2026. Development on 2 Quest 4 projects have been canceled. The new open periphery headset with a tethered computer puck is codenamed Puffin. Rumors are that it will resemble a bulky set of glasses and use a gaze and pinch input method rather than controllers. But I hope there's still an option for controllers. You know?
Unless the hand tracking really improves.
But
We'll
kind of
see.
better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have to head in that way. The controllers are a pain. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, Meta began rolling out version 777 software update with some improvements to hand tracking, a few other odds and ends, for the Quest 3 last week. This update appears to focus on refining the spatial awareness capabilities of the headset, like hand tracking things, to allow for more stable and persistent placement of virtual objects in a user's real-world room in mixed reality. You okay?
I think that was Rachel.
You're hearing a door. Okay.
Are you
Anyway,
okay?
No, I heard. I know. It's sorry.
Yeah.
It's coming through Discord. Okay. And anyway, it allows for the placement of virtual objects in a user's real-world room, really focusing on mixed reality. And this is a key feature for both productivity and mixed reality educational apps and everything else too. So excited about this update.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. With that in mind, Meta reports that they're planning on. Oh, whoops. Sorry. All right. I got off there a little bit. Sorry about that. All right. Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference was just the day before yesterday, which I didn't even watch because I knew it was going to be a nothing burger. And the company unveiled Vision OS 2. The first, Apple just lost their step. I mean, they just lost out on okay, I won't go there.
Oh, yeah,
All right.
no kidding.
Anyway,
editorial
I know,
opinions
but-
are the opinion of the host.
Of the host. And yes,
Yes. Well, I think
I
Steph
agree.
agrees with me.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah,
I think that Apple truly missed out. They could have really shaken up this entire marketplace. So I'm with you. Karen.
Yes. Yeah.
agreed.
Anyway, the company unveiled Vision OS 2, which I think they messed that up too, but anyway, the first significant update for their Vision Pro. In addition to improved support for the Vision Pro controller, they announced a new operating system that enhances user experience by turning 2D photos into immersive spatial photos and introduced more intuitive hand gestures for navigating the interface, continuing to push
Good.
the boundaries of personal spatial computing and losing out on VR. Sorry.
They're
That's okay. We
working on
understand.
it. They're working on
Yep.
it. The XR headset Muhan by Samsung is now slated to be unveiled at an Unpacked event later this year. With high-resolution micro OLED displays, it is positioned to be a direct competitor in the premium enterprise XR market, though I'm sure a few of you are saving up for it, right?
I dream. I don't know. I'm thinking. But this is more exciting. Okay. Is anyone here still have or you played with Windows Mixed Reality? Is anyone an owner still? Like I am of a Windows Mixed Reality Odyssey headset? Okay. I'm guilty. I still have mine. Mine is sitting on a shelf collecting dust. Okay. Lots of dust. But there's hope. There is hope. I love that headset. There's hope. Microsoft removed the driver in Windows 11 24H2, but a Microsoft developer has created, love this name, Oasis. Oh, come on. Ready Player One, people? Oasis. What a great name. Overused name, unfortunately, but it is a Steam VR driver that would add the driver back in for STR video games and apps. He hopes to release it this fall for free. So we'll be keeping an eye on this news. I will, because I'd like to dust off my headset, my old headset. That would be great. Oh,
yeah, that'd be
so
cool.
comfortable.
Yes. All right.
Mm.
Let's cover some XR app news next. So Luma AI has announced the general availability of its Genie 2.0 platform. This text to 3D model generator allows users, including students and educators, to create high quality 3D assets simply by typing in a description. Have you played with it yet? We'd love to hear about it at the end of the show.
Oh, no kidding. Have you played with Google's VO 3 yet? This video AI can generate realistic 360-degree videos. They look pretty good. Reports are all over the map with a lot of silly entries, but it is early days with 3D video, but it is getting better and better all the time. Played around with any yet? Tell us about it in a few minutes.
Yay! I wish I had time to. All right. Are there, well, I will tell you that do check our Facebook for Educators in VR, because I just shared just a little while ago, I shared a really cool VO 3 video that Dan Blair made.
Oh.
And Dan Blair is now in charge of an amazing university department up in Ontario for immersive technology. That is just, we'll talk more about it later. But anyway, he just shared a really fun video on AI for teachers. That's hysterical. I love it. Anyway, any fans, so there's some good stuff. It's also some scary stuff with, anyway, any fans of the award-winning video game Gardens Between? Any fans? Anybody played it? I did a million years ago. Feels like a million years ago. It's now been remade for VR. I'm excited about it. It's called Hidden Memories of the Garden Between. Interesting name. The story revolves around the childhood best friends, Ariana and Fred. In a memoir tale that transports them back to their childhood to solve 40 new puzzles across various levels. Now the demo is being released this week. I'm going to try to get it in the Steam Next Fest. So let us know what you think if you give it a try.
Oh, okay. Speaking of Steam Next Fest, as we move on to VR events, it's that time of year for Steam Next Fest. The week-long celebration of upcoming video and VR games brings us access to hundreds of free playable demos and some new and innovative VR titles. Check out the list in the Steam store. We'll be looking for some apps coming to a VR headset near you, as in on your face.
The Forge, the Future, Eighth Wall, and Reverse Game Jam continues through June 30th. It is a global competition challenging developers, creators, and students to build the next generation of cross-platform games using Niantic Studios' own Eighth Wall. You can learn more about it in our Educators in VR Discord.
Now, if you miss out on participating in this, which I really recommend you do, it's just been announced that you can sign up for another real-world gaming challenge. The next Niantic Studio Developer Competition is running from October 24th to December 9th. So we're giving you lots of prep time, folks. Lots of prep time. You're invited to create worlds and games in WebXR that will bring real-world elements into the mix for a chance to win something from, or win a portion of a $15,000 prize pool. Okay, so if you compete, we want to hear about your experiences. If you're competing in the H-Wall one and vice versa, we want to hear about it. So let us know. At the end, we're coming up to our XR, our VR chat moment. No, chat VR moment. Sorry.
Oh dear.
I'm messing up everything
like
today. Oh God, it's one of those days.
It wouldn't be the news without mess ups, right, Laurel? We got to have our mess ups. It makes the news funny. Okay, so the one thing VR does better than anything else is social. Where else in the world can you meet people from beyond your neighborhood and workplace? People you enjoy spending time with, whom you might never have met in real life. You will meet them here. Check out the many karaoke singing and dancing events with Von D and Delcine and Engage XR, and also Atessa's nightclub and karaoke events and amazing DJ dance nights with Dr. Heartbeats and VR chat.
Big news is due out this week from the huge AWE 2025 conference. We're watching for the latest updates and announcements. If you are there, check out the great events by the Educators in VR partner, Virtual World Society. If those living outside the U.S., AWE Europe, EU, is now called Europe United XR and is from December 8th to the 10th in Brussels. AWE Asia is in Singapore and was recently rescheduled to February 2026.
Now, next week is the iLearn 2025 11th International Conference of the Immersive Learning Research Network, and it's happening in Chicago, June 15th through the 19th, with in-person and virtual conference tracks for educators and researchers that are exploring multimodal literacies.
Next week is also London Tech Week, June 9th through the 13th, with plenty of XR tech.
All right, now we're going to... Okay, sorry, we had a little technical difficulty here. Okay, so
it's
June 26th. Yeah, it is. Sorry, we had a little thing. All right, June 26th and 27th coming up is the XR Access Symposium 2025 that's happening in New York City, and it explores all things XR and accessibility and beyond.
July 25th to 27 is the EDVR conference for VR and AI simulations in Birmingham, England, UK.
SIGGRAPH is in Vancouver, Canada on August 10th through the 14th.
The Meta Connect, I know you're waiting for because we're waiting for these announcements, and I fear they're going to make it official that the Quest 4 is either not going to happen or it's way delayed. We'll see. Is in September 17th through the 18th. We'll see. The rest is rumors. We'll see, and it's happening in LA.
Microsoft Ignite 2025 is November 17th in San Francisco, covering Azure's and mesh capabilities for enterprise developers.
If you'd like to have a favorite conference or XR event featured here, let us know.
Now, do not forget, keep your eye on the Educators in VR calendar and on social media for announcements of upcoming free and paid events by Educators in VR. And thanks, everyone, so much for your support.
And now on to our interview session.
Yeah, we're going to stay here.
XR News Chat VR, okay. And you are our guest this week. From time to time, we make you, our audience, the center of our attention.
Spotlight now on you. We want to know, what have you been up to in VR? Have you played interesting games? Visited any new platforms? Have you visited some amazing worlds? Okay. Have you built any? If it's your turn to talk back to us. Oops, did I say that right? It's your turn to talk back to us.
Yes, you
did.
You did.
Talk to us.
Yeah.
So let us know what you're doing in VR. You can talk back. You can say whatever, to a point, anything, but we want to talk VR. So you can unmute and shout out. What all have you been doing? I'd love to hear. And first, I'm going to start with, first we want to start with Karen, Bill Atkinson. Tell us about that, because that's really heartbreaking to lose such a pioneer.
I know it is. You know, the early, I loved everything Apple in the early days. I loved everything about
Oh, me
Apple.
too.
I mean, I get in discussions, quote, arguments with people over Apple versus Windows and all that. And yeah, in the early days, Apple had, I mean, their hardware's always been good, but they really had the corner on the market in terms of the OS, you know, and Windows. Now, you know, now it's pretty much even. But I love the early days of Apple, and yeah, back in those days, I had my business. That's how I learned a lot of how to do a lot of things. I started with PageMaker and eventually transitioned to the Adobe applications and all that. But I got my brother involved. He was working full time, and he used HyperCard. And he wrote, you know, I mean, back then it wasn't a lot. It was 1993, 95 or something like that. But, you know, he used HyperCard and he pushed the boundaries of the language because he didn't just use the cards, which were, you know, metaphors to link things together. But, you know, he did all the programming behind it to integrate my beginning Spanish reading program. He spent hours on that, hours and hours. So I always appreciate what Rich did. But yeah, those were the early days of Apple. I love the early days. Now I'm, you
Me
know,
too.
not much is holding me on to the ecosystem, to be honest, except for the computer itself. I don't use the third-party apps. I don't use any of Apple's apps. I mean, I use third-party apps, but yeah, Bill Atkinson was one of the pioneers of Apple, wasn't he, Steph?
Indeed. I mean, my memories of it go all the way back to 1984 when I had one of the original Macs. And it did look a bit like a kitchen appliance. And it
Well,
did not
a weird
it did not get
TV.
a lot of respect back then either.
No.
But we loved it and we kept pushing it. And our users group used to, some of our members worked for state government back then, and they used to pass their Macs over the fence to each other so that they could use them on their jobs. So, you know, this was, we were kind of all for decentralizing and not having mainframes, and now look at us. I mean, we're cloud
we're
computing, which is
dependent on the
basically the
cloud.
same thing.
Yeah. Well,
And
in talking about this, I remembered, I mean, we're dating ourselves here, folks. We are seriously
joke.
dating
yeah,
ourselves.
we are.
So come date yourself with us. But I helped a nonprofit organization. So I had one of the earliest MacBook Pros, and I worked on the C and the D and the even older. But I was working. I can't remember what the model was, but it was the one that looked like a TV with it all built in, the server. And everything. Anyway, I can't remember what it
Pizza
was.
box. Yeah.
Yes. No, it was past
No,
the
one
pizza
after
box.
pizza
I had
box.
the pizza box, but anyway, it was an old one, and we were running a nonprofit. I was helping run a nonprofit, and I used HyperCard as a database to set up our membership organization. And unfortunately, the the management was proprietary, and it couldn't get exported. And because it became too expensive for the nonprofit to continue to support Apple Mac products and stuff. And so we switched to Windows because they were saving every penny, you know, to make this nonprofit work. And we had to manually transfer all of that crap from HyperCard out because we couldn't get it exported and something would translate. Now, you know, nowadays we don't even think about something like that. We just, you know, it goes, they talk to each other, you know. I love it. What are you going to share, Karen?
Oh, no, I was just going to tell Steph that the user group, the Apple user group I was in was called Appleholics. She was very
I don't remember the name. I was in one too, and I don't remember what it was called. I was just like the Mac user group, or no, it was the Apple user group in Seattle. Oh, we're dating ourselves. Anyway,
you were,
we'd love to hear from you all.
You were in Seattle.
Yeah,
you were
I was in the birthplace of computers.
You sure were, yeah.
But back then, the pioneers were all using Apple. The first scanner I ever used was a cartridge that went into a printer as in place of the ink well, and it would literally scan the paper that you put through the platen, just as if you were printing it. I still have that, actually. I don't think it'll work anymore.
You're
but
kidding.
maybe the computer museum might like it.
Yeah, I think that would be brilliant. Great idea. All right, we want to hear from you. Memories of Bill Atkinson, memories, or just, you know, what have you been up to in VR? I'd like to start with Rachel. Rachel, you want to share about what you've been doing with the kids, please?
Oh yeah, sorry, I don't have water at the moment, and they were here to help me with it.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
No, I live in the third world country. This is the life I get to lead, and then I get to go scuba diving tomorrow at 8:00 in the morning. So I'll take it.
so
She's on an island in Honduras right now. That's the joy of the internet right there. Okay,
wow.
so Rachel, tell us.
Oh my God. So no, this is beautiful. So I got involved. Well, somebody found me through one of my events, and I'm teaching children with the STEM or the STEAM group, and I'm teaching them mindfulness. And it's so beautiful because these kids in this particular group, this is sad for a second, ICE had invaded this particular clubhouse, and they're all Hispanic, Latino-based people.
Oh no.
And so, yeah, let's not mess with adults. Let's get children, right? And, and so they came into the clubhouse, and they took kids and deported them. And so I'm there. I come in through Engage, actually, which is so beautiful. And I just teach them like breathing techniques, guided meditations, moving through their bodies in a way that feels good and that they can come to at any point in time for themselves. So it's like, it's not like a one and done. It's like, here's this, this thing and see you later. It's like, I get to teach them a breathing technique. And so if they get stressed out later, they know that they can go back to it. And it's something that they can do with nobody paying attention because they're just breathing in a certain way and they're calming and soothing their nervous system. And so it's so great to connect. And this is a global thing. So yeah, I love it.
That's awesome.
How? Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
And
That's
I
so
just
cool.
realized, Karen, I forgot Karen is fluent in Spanish. It'd be fun to invite her into your group if she is, if y'all have time.
Oh, that would
talk
be a
to the kids, maybe?
blast.
Wouldn't that
That
be
would
too
be
much
really
fun?
cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's really cool. And the wonderful thing is like the main flagship school that I'm working with, the program leader is from Honduras, that's where I'm at right now. So we get to talk, and it's a very enriching experience, and it's very enriching for me as well. Because I come from an underprivileged childhood, and if it wasn't for after school programs like the one I'm volunteering in, I wouldn't be where I am today. So it's like full circle. It's beautiful.
Oh, bravo.
That's
Isn't
awesome.
that wonderful?
Yes,
I love
congratulations.
And thank you. And thank you, Rachel. You enrich everything you touch. That is so beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you for letting me be a part of Educators in VR. I freaking love it.
Yeah, we love it. We love it. And I hope you get water soon. So if you didn't hear, she's in an island called Rotan that is part of the Honduras island. So when she says she's in a third world country, it's not to be offensive. It is that it is. She struggles
Really,
to get
she
internet and water, electricity, and everything else. Some days not, some days yes. So the fact that she is here and participating with us is always like a blessing to us. I just love it. I love it. Dot, did you have something you wanted to say? We'd love to hear from you.
Nothing as impressive as that. I'm sorry, I had some tech issues, so I had to come out and come back in. So I'm just now hearing what you're doing. But wow, Rachel, that's amazing.
All right, excellent. We love it. We love it. Who else has some news or want to share something that they're working on in VR or with anything? We're up for it.
Oh, come on,
Sean.
now.
Sean, you want to say what you're doing? We get to test your mic. Sean. Nope. Okay. Yep. I know. Okay. We're just checking. Okay. Dawn, I love that you're here. Tell us about what you have coming up with the Educators in VR Unity work group, please.
Yep. I've been a little bit traveling for work, so I'm just kind of catching up with things. But next week, with the Unity work group, I'm planning to give a talk on my own personal quest to find what I'm calling home. I was involved originally with AltSpace, and I really appreciated the ease in which you could create worlds, and both using its tools and using Unity. as well as to connect socially. I'm a fairly shy person, but there was something about AltSpace that made it really easy to connect to other people through events and everything. So since AltSpace's departure, I've kind of lost that social avenue. But I've really been pursuing developing my skills in Unity, more so on developing like traditional apps using the Unity framework. And, partially because it's not really dependent on a platform other than Unity itself. But I do miss the opportunity to like share what I'm creating, whether it's through photogrammetry or graphics, or there's a lot to learn from a creator perspective. I'm not like Lance, who's really talented, from a creator perspective or an artistry perspective, but I do try, and I would love to, share those creations that are outside of application development. So I've been, searching the different platforms and just what makes sense from my perspective. And I would love to, share what I've found, but also get a conversation going with the group of what others have found and whatever, what pluses and minuses there are from different avenues and platforms. So that's
Are
what
you
the
leaning?
I'm
discussion
so
will be about.
excited.
Dawn,
Yeah,
are you
next-
leaning
it's-
toward any particular platform?
Well, you'll hear next week.
She's not gonna give away the secret.
Okay.
That's a big reveal. Okay. No, Dawn and we've been working. She's been working on this for a long time. But we educators in VR went through the same thing. Where do we go? How do we use it? How does it? We think we found the right platform, but our criteria is really specific. Our needs are really specific. So, I love that she's doing this because we need to have these conversations on what works, what doesn't. What works for you may not work for me. If it works for a Tesla, it works for a Tesla. It may not work for us. It may not work for Dawn. But we need to talk about these so we can explore what the new platforms are, what the existing older platforms are, what are the pros and cons. And when we do that, we also help make those platforms better. We bring awareness to
Blazing a
ourselves.
trail. Yeah.
And but we also can go, okay, this is something that is broken in this platform. Let's see what we can do to fix it. How can we work together as a community? Because so many of the social VR platforms are community driven. So the more we recognize something's going on, the more we can improve it. So I'm so excited about this, Dawn. Thank you so much for doing it. And welcome back.
Thank you.
Are you back home?
Thank you. I am home for now. Yeah.
For now. She's a traveling job. I'm used to that, man. I am so used to it. It's nice to not move for a while. I love it. All right. Who has something else? Thank you, Dawn. Who has something else to share? Dance with Trees, did you have something?
Well, I guess I can do a little bit of a self-plug here for my event coming up. I have the Indigenous Peoples Day celebration event coming up on the 19th. And so get ready for that.
19th of June.
19th of June, yes. And I will be doing another tour of my museum as usual, but also you can expect maybe some live drumming and some singing maybe as well. You never know.
Cool.
Yeah, they're always so much fun. And the event happens where?
So the event is going to be in my museum world in VR Chat.
Okay, and it's called?
The Indigenous Peoples Day celebration event.
and the world that the world that we're going to be traveling to is called?
The Stands with Trees Residential School Museum.
Yes, Residential School Museum. As a reminder, for those that don't know, Stands with Trees Museum for the residential school is the world's first virtual museum dedicated to honor the residential school program, which is was developed to honor those over the last 100 years or more that were. You can explain it better than I can.
Yeah, so it's yes, it is a museum dedicated to the history and legacy of the residential school system in Canada, and it is to honor all the survivors and those who didn't survive.
What does survive what?
The residential school system.
Explain what that was.
So I'm getting there, Ral. I'm getting there. So
It's like a crowbar.
Yeah, the residential school system was designed to assimilate Indigenous people into the dominant European culture in Canada, and Indigenous people lost their languages and their culture. And a lot of the schools, there was a lot of abuse and other things that went on at these schools. And some of the students didn't survive. So, yeah.
Children that were removed from their families and then taught that their history, their culture was wrong. And it's a devastating thing. So I'm so proud of you for creating a museum and calling attention to it. And the Indigenous Peoples Day is such a great honor, because we have to remember that, we have to honor our ancestors. We have to honor, the land and the people and where we come from, and
we
everything
weren't here
else
first.
is so important. Thank you. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Thank you very much, Dance with Trees. Anyone else? Something fun to share, announce? Rich? Anybody? Yeah, go for it.
Over here.
And we have no audio. Oh, no. All right, check those audio settings. So you go into your there's several ways of doing this. And so you have to make sure, number one, you gave permission when you came into Engage to use your microphone, and then you have to go into your menu and check those audio settings and shout when you do it. So in the meantime, sometimes resetting the app will help too. And hopefully we'll figure it out. Rich, you have some events coming up? Rich Moore. Yeah, Rich, I think fell asleep on us. See, I miss having what's his name used to come into our events and fall asleep all the time. Charlie.
Charlie.
Yeah.
Oh, Charlie. Oh, yeah.
Charlie used to come in and he'd sit somewhere over in the side, no matter what our studio looked like. And within like a few minutes, he just kind of
see the head go over this way.
there. Oh, now we have audio.
Ah,
all right.
Right. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
We can hear you now.
Brilliant. Now, Laurel, first of all, I last spoke to you in Outspace. Okay, I was a regular at these meetings in Outspace.
Yes. And your Outspace name was?
It was Haley and Eon, as it is now. Well, maybe Haley and I can't remember, but it was certainly,
Now it
Haley
connects.
Okay, so I was a fairly regular. Now, it's quite interesting. Part of the reason why I popped in now is because your last two speakers, Dawn and I can't read it, but the guy over there, all right?
Dance with Trees. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's it. Yeah. First of all, the most relevant thing, so I'm getting on my seat. Right. And I'm new to Engage, by the way, in case I'm a bit clunky
Welcome.
here. It's the first time I've used Engage. Okay.
Fine.
I am a director of an actual museum in Torquay in England. So I'm in England, southwest England. And one of the things that we've got a collection, museums have collections. It's an internationally recognized collection. Okay. So it's stuff from all around the world, British Empire and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, so there's all sorts of interesting stuff there. But they've been a bit antiquated in the way they look at things. So I am pushing quite hard, digitizing
Let us help push.
the collection. Okay,
With
so that we
photogrammetry?
can then We can, well, that's why photogrammetry is one of the things I've been pushing. I've done a little bit of it there, but I really want to get them going and doing stuff, you know. We may involve local college and that and get people in, but we've got to buy the hardware. Do we go LiDARs with the hand controls? Do we just use photogrammetry with, you know, taking the photos? But I have actually, I've tried a bit.
Yeah, you can do it with an expensive phone too.
You just need a phone.
Just use it with a phone.
Yeah, I know.
But you need high res, so it needs to be a.
We have a one. You heard of Darwin? All right, Darwin. We have a wonderful bust of Darwin in the museum from when he visited. All right, Torquay. He lived in for a while. He stayed at a place not far from where I am. He visited a place called Kent's Cavern, where some of the oldest humans in Europe used to live. Okay, Kent's Cavern. Okay, it's in Torquay. Anyway, he's got a wonderful bust up in one of the galleries up in the museum, and I have actually had a good go at using photogrammetry. I've had a good go at doing it. I would have had to set the lighting up differently, but I've got lots of questions about, you know, do you have a rotating
you should check out our Discord.
Do you walk around it? You know, there's things like that. And I do remember in Outspace in the early days going around a garden somewhere that had people's sheds and wonderful you know, fountain things and all sorts of things, you know. So I'm very interested in photogrammetry. And I have used, you know, some of the apps and that as well. So Meshroom and that, I don't know if that's one you've used. But anyway, so I'm really interested in that side of things, you know, and, you know, related to the museum itself as well. So that's one of the things which, you know, caught my eye. And it's nice to be able to talk to you again. I do remember quite often talking to you in Outspace.
I missed you. I'm so
I've
glad
mostly been in VR chat, a little bit of big screen, but mostly VR chat since then.
Yeah, so are we.
Good. And it's thanks to Tessa. Thanks to Tessa that I've come along tonight, because Tessa's a very good friend of mine in
she's our best evangelist.
She's great.
She's our best evangelist now. So educators in VR.
We've got a load of resources on Discord for you, you know?
Okay, so that's a private Discord, but I think that you're referring to. So educators in VR, we have one of our most popular classes is their photogrammetry with phones, and now we have a new one that's starting soon, photogrammetry with drones. Craig Scott is in the UK. He is teaching those. Mark Jeffcock, who is a specialist who works with museums. Do you know Mark Jeffcock?
No, but I mean there are lots of people in the industry. But you know,
he was one of the leaders of our virtual hardware team for educators in VR for years. He just retired, and he is an expert working with quite a few different museums in the UK and otherwise, in Malta and a few other places, for doing incredible state-of-the-art LiDAR scanning, photogrammetry scanning, and so he's developed our photogrammetry class. And Gaussian splats, etc. We're educators in VR is working with other museums and schools, universities, and things on bringing photogrammetry in, including with the VR lady who's going to be here in 2 weeks, who's the curator now for one of the largest Native American indigenous artifact collections covering Navajo, Cherokee, and Watanabe? I'm going to mess it up.
Anishinaabe.
I grew up in a Native American tribal area, and I still mess up the names. My apologies. Anyway, so a lot of those artifacts and stuff. We're also working with Dan Blair in Ontario and Robert Throlt in Toronto, et cetera, that are also doing indigenous work and preservation, cultural preservation in XR. So we have a lot of experience for that. So ping me on Discord. Let's talk.
Oh, yeah.
Long story short, because we can help. We have people that are right there in the country that can help, and we have people who are experts in this, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And they're amazing evangelists, and they represent us so beautifully. So I'm so glad that you're here and you're doing this, because it's people like you that are like our evangelists as well. So thanks for being here.
And of course, if we did get the collection or a big chunk of it actually digitized, so it's a great object models basically, we would want to put it in a VR museum. I mean, that's another thing I'd be pushing, as a way of bringing it out, because that's how we get funding.
Going to
bring it to the public.
Dawn's event next week may help you with the criteria.
Okay.
And that would be really good of what you need. VR chat is fantastic, but we're not doing this show in VR chat. because it can't do the things we need it to do. So that's part of the limitations. We can't do slides. We have to do video. I'm editing the slides right up during the event. I'm editing the script during the event. We can't have spontaneity in VR chat when it comes to models and event and media and things like that. So that's a limitation of VR chat. I would love to be in VR chat. I love Engage because it has the power that we need to do the cool things. I mean, the button that Lance brought up and down and all the video and all the things we do. I love it.
It's not
Engage
all
has
frou-frou, though.
Yeah. Yeah. And many schools, just because this is a soapbox of mine, I'm going to shut up here. Many schools and museums have to live within criteria of their standards, their rules, their ethics, privacy, EU laws, blah, 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 when it comes to privacy and security. VR chat has none of that. Engage does. Engage supports government agencies, huge universities, all kinds of things because of its security and privacy protections. And so that's part of the things that need to go in when you're looking at making a choice. And when we're working with our clients, when we're working with different schools, we say, okay, where are your needs? What is the requirement? What can be adjusted, compromised? What cannot? And that's why we love Engage, because it ticks every single box except for community. But anyway, we can talk
Thank
more.
you for sharing that with me. That's very useful to know. Very useful to know.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is my job. This is what I talk about every single day. Anyway, ping me on Discord and let's talk more, or email or whatever through educatorsandvr.com. Let's talk more. All right, how are we doing? We're out of time, aren't we? We got to wrap this sucker up. Okay. Let me get my script here. Okay, are we ready, ladies?
In a mo.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Okay.
My screen went dark. Wait a minute.
I want to thank all of you. I mean, I'm so glad you were here. I want to also thank Rachel and Stanzo Trees and Dawn and everybody who has participated in here and because you are our guests, you're our audience, and you're the reason we're here. And we so love showcasing you on the show. So we bring this up every month or two. We open it up to you, and we're so glad we do every time. All right. We got our closing thing. Are we ready, Lance? All right. We got our team here going. The XR News is produced by Educators in VR and our XR News volunteer team weekly, every week here in Engage XR. We're weekly now. We've been bringing you the news from across the metaverse since 2018, and we keep on rolling and making mistakes and screwing things up.
Well, to err is human and divine. We are meeting weekly now, and what? We are meeting weekly. We are meeting weekly now in Engage XR for 2 new special edition segments for XR News Med Health and XR News Innovation Spotlight.
Yes, and Steph, you just made yourself divine. Goddess Steph. Okay, on June 25th, we're going to be here with the XR News and our special guests, Diane McClellan, CEO of Girls STEAM Institute, and the new director, Dr. Angelina Reinhardt, better known as the VR Lady and former director of the Virtual World Society. They're going to be discussing the innovative GSI XR Business Challenge here in Engage XR in October, and how they're using XR technology to prepare young women in leadership and entrepreneurship. Girls STEAM Institute is an Educators in VR partner and sponsor of the XR News.
So July 2nd, Rachel D. will return with the XR News Med Health edition with our special guest, Dr. Jane Harrington of Med Micromaps. She and her team are changing how students and professionals learn microbiology and the study of viruses and bacteria and so much more through their innovative XR app. You don't miss this. This is going to be so much fun. She is really a kick.
From the humble beginnings of XR News in 2018, we've been led by our volunteers giving so graciously of their time and energy. We can't do this alone, and we're asking you to step up and help support this ongoing news show focused on the metaverse. We're looking for moderators, speaker trainers, news reporters, script writers, slide makers, live streamers, and filmers. Training provided. Come join us and be part of the fun.
Okay. Each of our shows is filmed by Karen's brother, Rich, for YouTube.
The
We
new
love
guy.
it. Thank you so much. The guy who's naked floating around invisibly here. Anyway, he's not naked, but anyway, we always call him that. And we're going to soon add some live streaming to our Educators in VR YouTube channel, to Twitch and Discord and more. So I'm hoping that will be all in place by this fall.
And to keep up with the news from around the metaverse in the meantime, join the Educators in VR Discord and social media channels to find links to the news that we highlight in the show and much more about the metaverse and immersive education. You can find all of the links at educatorsinvr.com.
And we, again, could not do this show without you and our Educators in VR partners, our sponsors, our supporters, including iLearn, the Reinhardt Foundation, Girls STEAM Institute, Virtual Society, Cadets Metaverse, Vertex Form 3D, and Engage XR. And to our volunteer crew, you know who you are. We love you so much. Thank you for saving us as we screw things up every time.
Every dang
Thank you.
time. We're also grateful for the generous work of the XR news industry. We credit these sources each week that brings us the news from all around the metaverse and beyond. Thank you.
And remember, you're the reason we do this XR News Show. Until next time, stand up, stand tough, and most of all, in these amazing, uncertain times, please, please be safe wherever you are in the world.
Yay! All right.
Bravo.
Cue stands with trees.
We did a thing!
Yay!
We did a thing! Yay!
I love that. Thank you.